with the rules. So 3 years is the minimum. Of those 3 years, you have to age the wine at least 2 years in cask barrel. On the Bricco delle Viole is actually 3 years and a half in the barrel prior to bottling, which means much longer than usual. This is one of the big arguments I had in the beginning of 2008 with my father, because I was asking him, Dad, you know most of the people have already bottled their 2004 Barolos. So it means they spend months in the bottle, they are refined, ready to go on the market, and ours is still aging in the cask. But really, once I tasted a 1990 Bricco delle Viole, which I don't recall I had prior to that moment, and I found it was so fresh. I understood why he was willing to wait longer for the Barolo. Bricco delle Viole, if you look at a map, is the western, zoom out on the western crew of Barolo. So it's the closer to the mountains. Literally, you have the mountains, and then you have the valley with all the small rivers that will flow into the Po River, which is the big river going from west to east towards Venice. And then you have the hills, and Bricco delle Viole is the first vineyard on the west. It means that when you work into the vineyard, you see the leaves in summertime always moving a little bit because of the breeze coming from the mountains. And if you check the temperatures, in daytime it's the same temperature as down the valley below, which is the Barolo Valley. But then at night it's usually 2-3 degrees lower. And it works exactly as for Pinot Noir. Cold night means more aromatic into the wine. And the same is for Bricco delle Viole. So it means a risky exposure, because it's literally a ridge. So we have the east, the south and the west exposed to hailstorms. And we have to wait 5 days longer to pick the fruit to get it ripe. So it means 5 days when we have to touch food, hoping we won't have any storm and any hail. But this is really about a jazz into the wine. Much of finesse of the liquid. I think I suffered of enological, let's call it enological identity trouble when I was a teenager. Because if you're familiar with Barolo, there are two fashions, the traditional one and the modern one. The traditional Barolo producer would only use big barrels, whereas the modern wave would only use small French oak. And going in school in Barolo, we were chatting as the adults, repeating actually what the adults say home. So I had my schoolmate saying, my father is a modernist, or my father is a traditionalist. And that night I came home and asked my father, Dad, are you modern or traditional? But he gave me a 5 minutes long explanation. Well, as you can imagine, it was so technical, I couldn't understand, therefore I couldn't learn by heart, and I couldn't repeat to my friends. So that was really a problem until the moment I started to work with him, and I could see why he's not traditional and he's not modernist. If he's really forced, he might tell you, I'm trying to make a synthesis of the two. Or he would say, I'm a clean traditional producer. And definitely if you look into cellar, we would rather be driven by a traditional idea of big cask to have less possible influence of alcohol into the wines.